Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We got something here. What's your name?
Tom, Mann.
And what's this all about?
This is the second report card of the parties on our Good Government campaign.
Good government, does that exist?
Well, you know, we're wanting to improve it, Charles. That's the whole idea of this campaign. You know, New Brunswickers went through just a terrible malaise over the winter, and we know that 48% of New Brunswickers didn't vote in the last election. We know that young people aren't voting in elections, and you got to say, why is that happening? There's a lot of cynicism. People are upset. They believe that their vote doesn't count anyway. There's, you know, it's broken here in New Brunswick, and the coalition is creating a forum for discussion as to how to improve it. And we have the five parties engaged: the Greens, the Liberals, the NDP, the Progressive Conservatives, and the People Alliance Party. And we've asked them to contribute their submissions for assessment on four large topics: public participation, code of conduct for MLAs, look at this one, government ethics, and electoral reform. This is about making your vote count.
We'll go to that later.
Yeah.
What's this one?
Public participation. This is what are the parties' views as to how to engage the public in the decision-making process. We've had examples in the province over the last 15 years, you know, where decisions are made and all of a sudden they're sprung on New Brunswickers. We can go back to the MP Power deal this winter. You know, people were very, very upset.
French immersion.
French immersion, the ferries. But we can go back to the Casse Populaire and Shippigan. We can go back to even how the tolls were handled. And if you talk to people that were involved in campaigns to resist those, they all say the same thing. It was the process. It was how they announced it. They made decisions behind closed doors. And this is both parties. Both parties. And, you know, so how, the question here is, how are you going to engage the public?
So you got June, FFF.
Yeah, and this is incomplete, but they were just on getting started. But all the parties failed back in June against the criteria of engaging the public, having the public involved in decisions. What about the public's right to know information? You know, we've got, we have a situation in New Brunswick here that is among the worst in Canada with respect to information that we deserve to have that we can't get from our government. And so we went after...
So, excuse me one second, so the Green went from an F to a C. How did they manage that?
A C+. Well, they went to a C+ by being able to provide details of how they're going to ask and include the public in decisions that they're going to make as MLAs if they're elected.
And the Liberals never moved.
It's just some of the examples here, like citizen assemblies, town hall meetings. The Greens are committing to doing that. The Liberals, 2 points about the Liberals. One is that they're satisfied at this current time with the status quo. And you and I aren't satisfied with the status quo. Many New Brunswickers aren't satisfied. If we were satisfied, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. But they did also say that in the area of public participation, they're going to, and in government ethics, they're working on documentation. They're working on details. So by our report card in August, we hope to see, you know, the Liberals being able to get a better score.
10 minutes max. Just want to know where to go. Sorry, it's going good. So does the PCs went from a F to a B+. Does that mean their communication people are better?
No, it means that the content of the submission was much more detailed. It provided how they're going to implement this public engagement, how they're going to, for example, they are committed to having cabinet meetings in various provinces, various locations in the province, and they're committed to allowing the public to come in to cabinet meetings.
David Elwood would do that.
Yeah, they're also saying that they want the departments to have information sessions twice a year, every department, public information sessions about what decisions are being made. I mean, that's public engagement. That's public participation. That's why they got the improved grade.
Okay, now code of conduct. Oh boy, this should be.
The code of conduct. What we're seeking here is the behavior of MLAs.
If they take their Ritalin, then they get better?
Well, you know, if they how they interact with one another, how they interact with the public, how they behave. We've asked them, are you going to push for legislation that is going to ensure that politicians will be open, honest, and will not waste government money?
What do we got here?
Well, what we have here is we have some improvement by the Green Party. They've gone from an F to a C. They've given us more detail. And the detail that the Greens have given us is that they're going to, under the privacy legislation that exists in the province right now, that they're going to go in and make more tighter recommendations to change that. The Liberals have indicated, well, we have a privacy legislation and we're just going to leave it that as is. The NDP, they received the same mark. Their proposal lacked details of implementation.
The Conservative again, from an F to a C, communication again.
The Conservatives again moved from an F to a C, and it was on the basis of there's a lot of information in my head here. I just want to get this. They'll establish legislation that requires requires politicians to excuse themselves from decisions that affect their personal interests.
Oh, really?
You know, this is what they're saying on paper. You know, they'll amend the conflict of interest rules, not just keep them the same, to ensure that there are no loopholes concerning direct family members of cabinet ministers who are board members or employees of companies receiving government funding.
That's good.
I mean, that is good. I mean, New Brunswickers should recognize
3 minutes, okay.
Okay. On government ethics, we've seen dramatic improvement.
Oh, yeah.
By from the last report card with the
Conservative again.
The Conservatives and the NDP.
From an F to an A.
Yeah, and the
NDP, yeah.
The NDP, for example.
So what's that, government ethics?
Government ethics are...
Like that pension?
Well, it can be pension, because one of the questions in the government ethics is, are you going to put your personal view and your personal financial interests ahead of the public interest? And, you know, that pension is a good example of public participation.
Yeah.
Another example of a decision being made behind closed doors without any indication that it was happening. And like NB Power, like Cast Popularship again, like the tolls, and we can go on. Sadly, we've got quite a list, and in August, what we're going to do at this exercise, at this time, is we're going to go through each of these and give examples from the past and how the positions of the parties will change and have made it better.
And the last one?
Well, electoral reform is all about participatory elections, where everyone who votes will have someone representing them in the Legislative Assembly.
Okay.
The Lord government passed
won the popular vote.
They won the they won the popular vote, but they didn't form government.
Yeah.
We have people, 10% of the population that vote for the Green Party.
Yeah.
They get no seats.
Yeah.
And this is not it's not a new concept.
F, PCs.
Well, see, the PCs, I believe they're developing their position. They're going to roll this out on their own time in this election campaign. We're hoping that they'll take a look at and review the David McLaughlin commissioned report from 2005, which recommended this, and he was commissioned by the Lord government.
Yes, I remember that.
And that's sort of a sad irony where
Brent Taylor was there too.
That's right.
Yep.
So you see with the Green Party, they went from B+ to A, because they're saying that if they're elected, they're going to push to have an education program involving all the public through engagement to study this, and they gave us a time frame and they gave us an implementation date. They want to see this implemented before the next provincial election.
You know what? The bottom line is the old saying: if you're in the opposition or not in the House, you can promise the world, and you guys are making sure they don't see that. They stick to their word.
Well, exactly, and there's no honesty, law, in politics.
Yeah.
But we're getting commitments from the parties here.
Keep on doing the fine work, Tom.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thanks a
Charles.
lot.